Hi, we're here today in the Pleasure Garden at the Tom House, and our artist in resident who is being interviewed today is Jared
Cabrera.
Cabrera. I'm sorry, uh, and that goes by the artist name of Hovvrad.
Yes.
And so, how did you come up with your name, Hovvrad?
Kind of like a joke. So I live near a street called Howard. It was almost kind of dumb not to go with it, and it was to like stand out on a list of like directors, because at the time that's what I was doing. I was just like making videos. And then there's this group called The Waves where they use two V's, and I thought it was brilliant. So I just replaced the W with two V's, and the rest is kind of history.
All right. So we usually ask artists how they found out about the Tom residency program. So how did you find out about it?
I was doing my first solo show last July, and I worked a lot with Rudy, the DJ. His last name skips my head, like Space. But he had told me about Ruben, who I started talking to, and he told me about this place. And then I had met him at Gio's show, and then he kind of introduced me to everyone. And then he was just like kind of bugged them about it. Do you really want to do it? So then I just kept emailing. So kind of just like Ruben and Rudy together.
Right, you came to us with rather high recommendations as far as a young developing artist. I mean, you've actually just had a birthday,
Yeah.
and now you're 23.
Yeah.
So, but you're young, and so what was it like as far as coming to the Tom House for you?
It was nerve-wracking at first, because I was like, what's going on? Like, I've seen Tom's work, I own shirts, I understood what it was, but to actually be in the house where it was, like everywhere, and it was all about that, it was kind of interesting. And then it kind of allowed me to accept what I was doing a lot better, given the fact that like working a lot and making a lot of erotic art, my parents were like super it was like a lot of conflict.
So you came from being in your home,
Yeah.
where you grew up, to here.
Yes.
And actually, we might as well tell the viewers. So you're not really from a far distant place. You actually were residing in the Inland Empire, right? Which
Yes.
is actually maybe how many, 40 miles from here?
It's like 30, 35
Right.
miles. Yeah.
And so you came from there to here because you really wanted. Why did you want to come here?
I wanted to develop myself as an artist. I wanted to be able to practice my craft like uninterrupted, in a sense that like to be in this beautiful place, because I'd seen other artists like Gio, and I've seen Stewart's work, and like when you look at their starting work before they got here, that's like really great work, but then after they leave here, there's just like this euphoric sense you kind of get from it. So I was wondering if I was able to do that, where I could be here and develop what I was doing a lot better, and just to be around this like history, to like you're constantly surrounded by like Tom's work and other artists' work, and in my room there's like Hector Silva, so that's like another Latino artist. So it's very empowering to see that all these other men are able to create, and then just to know that being here allows me to kind of be 100% who I am.
All right. And so, and it's important to you to carry your Latino heritage with you and to have that expressed, huh?
Yes, it is.
And in regards to I just want to comment that when you came here, you actually, I think the first day that you came here, you set up your studio in the garden.
Yes.
Actually, not under a tent or not under anything except the beautiful trees and bushes.
Yeah.
And I think you got to stay there for about 10 days or so.
I think a little longer.
Yeah?
I had done that first project I did. I had finished under there. And it wasn't until Boss's like final weeks I was able to
Go and share with him.
Yeah, I just didn't want to interrupt his like workflow.
Right. And the rains came. Right.
Yeah, and the rains. That was another thing.
Which actually, another thing that you did is your work hours were actually when everybody else was going to bed. You were actually starting your work day.
Yeah.
And you spent the evenings out here in the garden with some other animals.
Little skunks and little chunky raccoons. They're adorable.
Uh-huh.
It was great. Except the bees and mosquitoes. There was like an instance like around my first month where there was a few bees, and I was like, oh, okay, whatever. And then I look, and there's like a light up here on the stairwell.
Yes.
There's a bunch of bees, and it was like, it forced me to work a little quicker, because it was always like 6 a.m. when it was like going crazy with them. But yeah, it was fun. It kept me on edge.
And really in a different step with nature, actually.
Yeah, it's completely different. I've never worked outside to do work.
Yes.
It really pushes you to, if it's cold, it really pushes you to like work kind of quick, but yet there's something about it, like, can't really explain it, like, it's a little more freeing than just being confined to a little like desk or like, you know, a room where there's not a lot of airflow. And I think being out here allowed me to like really get in tune with what I was doing.
So why don't you tell us, Jared, about your other show that you did while you were here?
So I did this show at Faultline, where I had made 25 hand-painted shirts, and with that I was trying to tell the story of like a younger version of myself, someone that was very optimistic and really viewed love on such a different level. You just get like what you see in the movies and what you see in like magazines, and like, I don't know, I just felt like I really wanted it when I was younger until I actually experienced it. It's completely different. And so with that, I kind of made this diary on shirts with like my painted figures. So from like the smallest size to the largest size, there was just this story that was written on all the shirts. There was breaks to indicate the switch up from day and night and how heavy those emotions played on the pieces. And with that, I had made this like painted short film that was kind of the ending experience of like what it feels like to exit the room and to finally experience it for the first time. And with it, I did I did a photo shoot for it. I did like all the promotional work for it, and it was a really great experience. I'm super thankful for them.
So there were several things that took place there that I saw as rather major. One was that when you got your crew together for the photo shoot for the shirts, and that photo shoot was used where in the actual video.
No, so I had done the photos and then I had them stretched on canvas, almost like a catalog, and I had hung them up at the bar to show people what the shirts would look like on a body. And that was probably the one thing I wanted to do, because, you know, in a bar you can't really try on these shirts, like, oh, I'm gonna try this one on. So I wanted to show what they laid like, and I was also trying to tell this story of like, you know, just peace and just calm. And
so you have this these words that you tend to put on your artwork, and what these words, what are they to connotate? Are they a message?
They're a message to the person who buys the piece. It's more of a thought that's like a common thought, and I try to connect it to the piece as much as I can, and it's more, they come after I'm done with the piece or sometimes before, but it's almost like I'm telling you, like, this is what this piece means. Like, there's not a lot of room for interpretation when there's writing on a piece. So it's more of like I'm screaming a thought at someone. It's like this very eternalized, like, listen to me, like, this is what I have to say.
And so your paintings, which you paint one of a kind on a t-shirt, which is sort of a work of art, and it is a work of art. And so what's your expectation for people? So they're buying a work of art, and so are they to not wear it, or to wear it, or what?
My first thing that I wanted was that, like, I wanted to make sure people only wore it 3 times, just because it is painted. It's not like they run or like they fade, because they're all sealed after. But I had the intention for them to be framed, like little canvases. And some people have sent me photos of them being framed. Some people say I wear it all the time. So, I mean, I just give it to the people. I say, do what you want with it. You should be able to feel what it feels like to wear it. Like, it's a lot thicker. It's a lot more noticeable when it's on your back. And also, there's stuff on the front. So, you know, wear it as much as you want. But if you think it should be framed, go ahead and frame it. I'm not going to be the one to tell you what to do with it.
So you've had this exhibition at the completion of your stay here, and well, you share with the viewer what happened out of that.
So the show is sold out.
It's sold out. All
Yeah.
of your work sold.
Yeah, and then the shirt sold out also. So it's really cool, and that exhibition was a follow-up. So it's a continuation of the first product that was from the shirts.
Uh-huh.
And it was what happens when it kind of all goes to shit. And it's this internal conflict with myself. And it's like when I first started dating and with my family, it was a lot harder. Like when I came out, I had to go to like a church camp, which is like gay camp. And I talked
Was
a lot.
this to be de-gay?
I don't know what it was for. It was to be more in tune with Christianity.
Uh-huh.
And it's not like I have any hate for it. It's just very confusing at times. And that's kind of what I was trying to push into this project. It was like, if the Bible says this, why is it that people still criticize this crazily? Like, you know, there's freaking protests of people at Pride saying that you're going to go to hell. And it just hurts because it's like we already deal with these struggles ourselves, whether it be with like religion or whether it be with family or sometimes it's friends. Like, I'm just trying to question, why is it that if this thing you follow so heavily, how could you still be so rude to people? Like, we're all people. We all have our own things.
So then actually your message, it needs to be given out to the wider population, right?
Yeah.
For them to reconsider. Sort of the same as, I mean, Tom also had the desire to communicate to the larger population, hoping that his work would somehow reach out to them and communicate that take it easy on us. You know, we're just other human beings, and we want to love each other the way that we love. And so I see that you are also. So it's really about how your work is going to get out there to the larger population, and maybe the T-shirts are one of those ways.
Yeah, I would hope so. That's probably like only a few pieces in the show kind of convey that. Other pieces talk on what it feels like to be like let down, what it feels like to let someone else down. It talks a lot about cheating, but it's kind of funny because all of it ties into the Bible, but there are only a few pieces that are in your face, like with the scripture.
Uh-huh.
And you have like two men crying, and it's like Corinthians 13:4-5, where it's like love is patient, love is kind. And my biggest, like, I think making that piece, and it was the gold pieces that were like very emotional to me, and I think I was kind of like hesitant on writing that on there because it's very like you don't really know how it's going to be perceived, and it's like, but it meant a lot to me to really push this into the work. And I wasn't trying to Bible thump, I was more of a question for people to like, okay, yeah, like why is it this way? And I just wanted these instances that I've gone through to be shown so other people know that, like, you know, it's cool, you can still get through them. Like, I'm here, you're here, we go through it, it's hard.
Uh-huh.
And
Do you actually do you do a diary?
I do, in a form of, I make short films, and I have like
They're
books.
visual diaries.
Yeah, so they're books and books of these emotions I have.
So speaking about film, in that when you did the Fault Line exhibition, you created a film for that.
Yes.
And it's a couple of minutes long, is it?
It's a minute long.
Okay. But it's animated.
Yes.
And in short, how did you actually create this animation? Just in a short term.
I did 110 sketches, and then I pushed the sketches to the paper, and then I painted them, scanned them, edited them. Voila.
And so you were happy with it?
Yeah, it was crazy happy because I had came up with the idea in the summer, but it seemed like a lot of work, and my parents weren't letting me scan the pages that I was already making, so I kind of just abandoned it because it was a lot of like scanning, and they weren't really down for it because they were like, what is this?
So this is sort of a, I don't know if you've ever left home before, but this was sort of a freedom camp for you in a way.
Yeah, it was. It felt like what home should feel like.
Uh-huh.
In a larger sense of like community and, you know, respect and, you know, support. It felt like that.
So we might as well actually just ask you the question in regards to coming to Tom House And what did it provide you with? That?
Yeah, it provided me with a realistic sense of home, an amazing workspace, a freedom I've never experienced.
That's quite a bit.
Yeah, I think that's...
Yeah. And so actually, I don't know if you want the public to know about the animation piece, but I know that you've been thinking about your art in very sort of a painting format. And what did you discover?
I discovered I can make them move, and they come off a little more emotional.
Uh-huh.
And I generally like want to just use them for end pieces to like a painted project, almost like, you know, I just wanted to embed it in reality. So these are the common things we go through. So like the first one was kissing, the other one was like sucking dick, but it was started with kissing.
Uh-huh.
And the other one was like just this man just taking off his jock and putting it on, but he's alone, and I just really wanted to convey what it felt like to be alone. But
And you also found out that this could be a work of art that could be sold.
Yeah, that was crazy. I didn't think that was possible.
You know, just another tie-in with Tom in that really in the last couple of years of his life, we were just coming to the place with the internet where GIF files were actually being created. And he was sort of mesmerized by that and just thought, wow, you know, if I could see my artwork move, it would be so wonderful. Yeah.
Yeah. I remember you told us that story one time at dinner, and it was like a debate over how to say GIF and GIF.
Yes.
And then you had brought that up, and it really like stuck with me. And I think that unknowingly put a seed in my head, because I wasn't gonna do it because it was a lot of work. It takes so many hours of painting the same thing over and over again. But you know, it's just, you gotta kind of pay homage.
You are sort of an extension. I mean, we all are. But you're carrying on your influence. His influence on you is carrying on the tradition, as it were.
Yeah.
In that, even though your mediums are different and everything, you're because all artists are connected, and that's what the influence of being at the Tom House is all about, right?
Yeah.
So I want to ask you, what's in the near future for you?
I'm first, like, I want to do some more solo shows. I have one in February, group show in March, and then like a versus show in April.
A what kind of show?
It's like two artists kind of go head to head.
Uh-huh.
It's like the Jean-Michel and what's his name, Andy Warhol.
Yes.
Where they did pieces together.
Okay.
So Jose and I are doing that.
Doing that together.
Yeah.
So that brings me to the subject of friendships, and so you seem to you were actually quite introverted when you started when you first came here,
Yeah.
and you've sort of blossomed in a way.
Yeah, it's funny because it's like you want to be so like, naturally I'm very introverted, but being here you don't have a choice to be introverted.
Yes, that's
There's
true.
no choice. Like, people come for tours, you know, you meet all these people who do their events here, and it's like you can't get around them. So I am really thankful for that, because I can now be a little more expressive, I can be a little more comfortable. Still won't do clubs, not super.
You learned something out of that.
Yeah, and then the fault line, it was so foggy, so
Yes.
you couldn't really see how many people were there.
And also, it's you're sort of a byproduct, you know, when you do an event at a bar or something, because you're not the main attraction, and so the thing is that at least here, what the focus is on the art and artists, and it's good to give that a place where there's a space for that.
Yes.
So you're going back home.
I
To
am.
a home. I mean, this is your home now, actually, and you know that
Yes.
that you can come and be here and work here whenever you feel the need or desire, and yeah, and that's what we're about. And so, is there anything else that you want to share with the viewer?
I mean, went back to school for animation
All right.
to really play on the animations. to really kind of build them.
Yes.
And hopefully, fingers crossed, a little bird said something in Korea, exhibition, all animations. So hopefully that works this summer. But yeah.
All right. So I'm going to actually step out of the picture here, and if you just want to say anything, or I won't be listening in, and so don't have to be awkward. But I'll give you a minute or two just to be with the viewer.
Okay. Hi everyone. Yeah, so that was my time at the Tom House. I just wanted to say a big thank you to Rudy and Ruben for kind of opening my eyes to this opportunity. Before that, I don't know if it would have ever been a thing. Just want to say a huge thankful, grateful, warm thank you to Hatford for putting up with my tenacious, not buggy request. Everyone at the house, from Mark from helping set up my exhibition, Sharp and Durk for their wonderful stories and words that I hold on to forever at this point. Big thank you to Boss Costers for putting up with me and really giving me his artistic eye when I asked for it, and it was just pure honesty. Thank you to Marcel for kind of always being here, kind of, sort of, he's not always here. Just want to say thank you to everyone that's helped on these projects. I, from the bottom of my heart, appreciate all the effort people put into these projects with me. Without them, I don't think they could come to life. There's just so much you can do on your own, but with the help of others, it just works. And I just want to say a big, thank you for my family, I guess. Thank you for supporting this choice in my life, and trying to be something, trying to get my message out there. So this has been great. I'm Jared, or Hovvrad, and just keep an eye out.